Hey guys, it's Mike Barnes, the financial first responder. Hey, look, if you haven't had a chance to do this, please like and subscribe my channel and share it with someone today. Look, today is going to be a little different. I'm going to be talking about trees, actually, fruit from the financial tree. So I want you thinking about this for a second. You're either on one side of the tree or you're on the other. One side of the tree, you have financial avoidance. And sometimes that can be good, and sometimes that can be bad. And then on the other side of the tree, you have financial tolerance. And so I want you thinking about different structures of the tree and how they compare with your financial life. This is for educational purposes only. I am a licensed financial professional, and any of this information, I would highly suggest you talk with your financial professional or with me, the financial first responder, before making any financial decisions. So without further ado, let's get started. So remember, we talk about those two things, financial avoidance and financial tolerance. And whether you're starting from a seed, a molecule, which is represented down here at the bottom, the physiological or physiological portion of a tree, everything starts with a carbon, right? And so I want you to start thinking about the process of your financial roots growing and how they blossom into a tree. So let's get started. You see, being a part of a financial tree, that framework is what we're really talking about. You have to have a strong financial life that grows just like a tree. And remember, we talked about it starting from a seed, that seed being planted in soil and watered correctly. But what we're really talking about is the roots, the foundation, the trunk, the discipline, the branches, the strategies, and then the fruit is the outcome. Now, for some of you, when we talk about the financial foundation, roots are built early and deep. They started from that seed, right? So, what are we talking about? We're talking about your financial values, what you think about money and how you use money. We're talking about your financial education. Have you been educated properly about the financial situation that you're in? Or have you learned it over time through mistakes and through opportunities? Your financial habits. Habits are a big thing. Habits can be done within 21 days, good or bad. Protection. We talk about protection. Having the right amount of financial protection. And yes, I'm talking about insurance. And yes, I'm talking about different financial tools or financial instruments you use to protect your money or your finances or your wealth. Just like teaching your children how to stand before they run or they walk, that's the way we have to do this. We have to teach you first how to stand. You're going to wobble a little bit, and then you'll finally get your bearings on that, and then you'll take your first steps, and then before you know it, you go from probably crawling to standing to walking to running. You don't do it overnight. It takes time. So the same way that takes time is the same way your financial education, your financial values, and your financial habits, as well as the protection you put in place, happens. Now we're talking about teaching the roots. Unfortunately, in a lot of communities, families don't teach finance. In some communities, they do. However, in most, you learn it happenstance. You learn it while it is happening, right? So you want to train the finances in the same way that you train your children. Hopefully, you train your children to have some moral values and some empathy and some ethics about them. But we start with the basics, right? And repetition matters because as the more you do this, the more you actually put things in place, and the more you watch over those things, financial things, I mean, the better your outcome will be. So it's small lessons and they're daily. And then we talk about the character before the complexity. So character, financial character is very important before we get to complexity. And a lot of times we say it like this. If you cannot explain what you're doing to a child, then you probably don't need to be investing in it. or doing whatever that financial habit is. We talk about the soil. Now, the soil is very important because that's your income and your cash flow. See, healthy soil feeds your roots. That is how you earn your income. A lot of you made your decision of your opportunity or your career choice or your job based off of how much you were going to earn. And then some of you need that side income or that side hustle that you do just to make ends meet. And then some of you have developed a business um, that you've done and made some income from. But the goal here is cash flow awareness. You need to understand it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep, but it's also how much you can consistently earn through investments or through opportunities that keep you afloat. Watering. Of course, water is important, especially when we talk about budgeting and savings. Water is right up there with oxygen, right? If the body is 98% water, a lot of you don't drink enough water in your life. You don't drink at least a gallon a day, right? And some of you are saying a gallon a day, that's a lot. Well, a lot compared to what? See, without water, your roots dry up. And some of you, y'all are dried up because you don't get enough water in your life. Now, the water financially is having that emergency fund set aside, that consistent savings, that spending discipline. And something new that I've tried or I'm doing, I shouldn't say try, we only do, is whenever I make a financial mistake, I now keep it in a journal and I will read over it to see how not to make that same mistake again. See, watering a tree is a daily thing, it's not occasional. Just like a plant, you have to water your plants on a regular basis. The same thing with your finances. You have to water your finances or think about your finances or actually cultivate your finances over time. We talk about the trunk of a tree. That's the discipline and the consistency. See, the trunk holds everything together. This is your budget discipline. This is your automation of your money. This is your accountability of your money. This is delayed gratification of your money. See, a lot of you, I hope, when you decide to go buy big purchases, you at least sleep on it, or you think about it, or you research it, or you figure out what are the best three options as far as the items or things you want to purchase. You don't just go buy the first thing, you think about it, right? At least one would hope. See, the financial advisor wants you to start taking stock of what you're doing financially. Branches are the financial tool. See, branches spread out your opportunity. Now, what do I mean by that? That's the banking, where you bank at, the credit you use. We want you to be wise in what you use as far as your credit, the insurance that you purchase, the investments, and then obviously, if you're looking at franchises or business opportunities, your business ownership, you're taking stock in what opportunities and what will actually take place when you're looking at different business ownership opportunities. Now, I'm getting deep, but I'm not getting deep because I need you to be able to ask yourself some of these questions and me not give you all the answers. Of course, you have to do pruning. And people are like, well, why do I need to prune? Because that is risk and protection mitigation. See, smart pruning prevents your financial structure from collapsing. The insurances you use, the estate planning, the risk management, the avoiding bad debt, all of these things, when you're talking to your financial advisor, your financial planner, your financial first responder, you're talking to people who are helping you to prune your financial situation. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't get expert advice or subject matter expert advice, as we like to say in the military, and they do it themselves. They wing it. You know, I am not a tax professional, but I have a tax professional that I work with. Why? Because that's what they focus on. And some of you need subject matter experts in your life when it comes to insurance, when it comes to estate planning, risk management, and actually talking to people about avoiding bad debt. We talk about the fruit. Now, if we're talking about a man and a woman who are married or not married, but in general, they have children, those are their fruit. right? So those are our harvests. Now I want you thinking about your money. Does your money give you peace of mind? Hopefully your children give you peace of mind, right? Financial freedom. Does your money give you financial freedom? Does it give you a legacy that you can give to your children's children, an inheritance? And does it give options for your children? See, a lot of times we don't plan for our children, we plan for ourselves. We need to think beyond ourselves. We need to think about what our plan is for our children's children. Now, some of you are saying, well, Mr. Financial First Responder, you keep talking about this harvest season. Well, understand, you can't have a harvest until you plant. So there has to be some germination going on from that seed that you put down, some watering, and some time so you can get some fruit. So it's real simple. You don't rush fruit. You grow roots first. And strong roots equals sustainability in your wealth process. See, a lot of you want to have $1 million, but you're not saving any money. None, really, to be perfectly honest. And at this point, what I want you to do is I want you to start thinking about, how do I get a harvest if I don't plant anything? So if you're not doing the appropriate things that you need to do to have the harvest, there is no possible way you're going to get the harvest. I don't want to sound like a preacher here, but I want you to understand that without some discipline and without some organization, you're not going to get where you want to be financially. There are no such thing as people just winging it to financial freedom. And financial freedom doesn't mean that you're a multimillionaire. It just means you have the freedom to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, and how you want to do it. So, with that said, I'm Mike Barnes, the Financial First Responder. We've been talking over the last 12 slides about ways that you can start your roots financially. Now, I'm giving you something as simple as planting a tree, because people see trees, they know what trees are. It's a simple concept. I actually learned this concept from the Bible. Actually, King Solomon. King Solomon actually used the things that God had put in place to teach his stories to others. And so I'm just taking a page out of the book, Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth, the Bible, and basically saying to you, you need to plant your financial tree today. You need to teach the next generation for tomorrow, which are your children and your children's children. Now, I have two ways that you can do this. You can go to my website, www.truenorthadvisoryllc.com, or you can hit this link below, which is thefinancialfirstresponder.com, and it will allow you to take advantage of the financial positioning system, where I will go in depth with you on how to actually grow your financial tree using a system, proprietary system, that will help you keep accountability of everything you do financially. Look, this is Mike Barnes, the Financial First Responder. Please like and subscribe my channel. And I just want you to understand, I want to help you make your life great on purpose. God bless.